We are preaching a series of sermons on the book of First Peter. And last Sunday we started with this aspect that we are exiles, foreigners. Christians are foreigners in this land. Now further, Peter goes on to explain who are Christians, who are these guys who believe in Jesus Christ. They have to have an identity, especially when they were facing persecution on large scale. Roman persecution has just started, and they are going to face this, and it's going to be very, very bad persecution. And now, Peter is trying to tell them, you are not just a bunch of fishermen from Galilee, you are not a bunch of soldiers from Rome, you are not a bunch of traders in Philippi, you are somebody greater than that. And in doing that, he's coming to the second aspect, and that is, we are a people with hope. We are not hopeless people. We are a people with hope. I'm reminded of a man who he was sentenced to death, and he got a reprieve, promising the king that he will make the king's horse fly in 1 year. So this king said, okay, don't kill him. Give him 1 year. So he was forgiven, and he said, but he promised the king, I will make your horse fly in the air in 1 year. I will train the horse. So the king said, okay. But the king said, but if you don't make my horse fly in 1 year, you will be hanged. He said, that's okay. I will teach your horse to fly in 1 year. Then somebody asked him, why did you do that? He said, maybe the king may die in 1 year. Maybe I may die in 1 year. Maybe the horse may die in 1 year. Maybe I may be successful in training this horse to fly. Isn't it? That is what called hope. This man had hope. Either the king may die, then I will live. If the horse may die, I will live. If I die, that's okay. I got at least 1 year or until I die. That's what called hope. We all need hope to survive. But the question is, what type of a hope that we have? That determines how far we can go. And that actually decides how we live and what we live for. Imagine that you are born in a poor family, and then suddenly somebody comes, a very, very filthy rich person comes and adopts you. And then as a small boy or a girl. And then you grow up. You grow up with what? We grow up with hope. Hope of a great inheritance. Now when Peter wrote about this hope, he was very, very careful. Let me read that first 2 verses again. 3 verses. Praise be to God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I said last Sunday, every word and every phrase in Peter's epistle is loaded, packed. And the metaphor we used last week was, it is just packed so tightly like swan bubble, isn't it? Right. Now will I unpack? In His great mercy, He has given us new birth into a living hope. And at that point, I would like to depend on some other translation. If you have a King James version, the good old King James version, it will say, He has begotten us anew to a living hope. Or some translations will say, He has fathered us. He has become our Father through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you, who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of the salvation that is ready to be revealed at that time. And what he was saying in summary is this, that the Father has given us a new birth, and that new birth has given us a new hope. And we live and we face persecution of the Roman Empire. We go through the suffering and the trials. We'll come to that at a later stage. Because we go through this fiery trial because we have a hope. And that hope is because the Father, some Father has adopted us, and that is God the Father. And that is the Father of Jesus Christ. So, there's no anxiety. Now, why a lot of children drop out of school from the slums? They drop out. 4th standard, 5th standard. Because I have talked to them. When you speak to them, what they say is, what is the point in going to school? Now, after going to school, you get only this much. But if I continue my father's job, or trade, or business, whatever work he's doing, I get this much. What is the point in toiling for 10, 12 years or 15 years in school? There's no point. See, make a living. Because they have given up, because they have no hope. But a person who is secure, safe, rich, he has hope. I have a brother-in-law, and he has a great business. And his son, he wants to work. His father wanted him to take over the business. He said, no, I'm going to work for a while. And I want to make my buck, fast buck. Then I will come and help you when you are not able to run the business. This boy has tremendous confidence. He has a MBA from UK, and he's working in Kuwait, and his father is running a business in Delhi. And he is very secure. And he is not afraid. He has the best car in the world that he can afford. And because there is confidence. Because his father has 2 factories in Noida. Right? That's what I think. It's because his father has 2, and he is in all these Rotary clubs and all that. That's what we have, that privilege. What privilege we have? We have a hope. Hope, and then I will come to that. The hope is based on a new birth, and the hope is based is for an inheritance. Let us look at that hope first of all. We all need hope. See, as a pastor, I find it very difficult to work with people who have no hope, no hope at all. When something happens in their family, when suffering comes, if these people have no hope in God, it's very difficult to comfort them, give them any advice, to build them up. It's very difficult. I just printed out my sermon this morning, and I was just trying to sit down and pray. Then I had a visitor, and this visitor came. I knew him very well, and he told me a story which actually made me cry. I broke into tears, and then I told Sheila, how can people live such lives, battered all through their life? And the story he told me is that he has to go and see his brother who is in jail, under trial. Why he is under trial? Why he is behind the bars? Because they don't have enough money to hire a lawyer. And I told him, please, you go and try whether he can bail him out. See, and I don't know where we can help him, where I can help him. To just but this man I know has gone through lots and lots and lots and lots and problems. But he's still trying to survive because he has hope. That is amazing. If you don't have hope, we give up in times of suffering and trials. The smallest breeze will flatten us. That is why Peter wrote this. We have a hope. Let me define that hope as he has done. See, Paul wrote to the Philippians. What was it? From the jail, from the Roman jail, he wrote, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. It is the other way around, isn't it? Huh? Remember, there was no insurance in those days, life insurance. I know a case, a couple, people accuse, I don't know the truth about it. When his wife was about to die, he took a massive life insurance and became rich without lying to the company that his wife was a fatal illness. And they took a life insurance and she died and he became rich. When Paul says, for me to die is gain, he is not talking about that he has no life insurance. For me to live is Christ and to die is gain. When he said that, he was not talking about the big life insurance policy that he has. He is going to be a loser according to the terms of this world. But he had a hope. Now, it's a living hope. Peter Paulson, in his mercy, he has given us a new birth into a living hope. A hope, there are two types of hopes. One hope is a hope that dies out. A hope that dies out. The other hope is a hope that is always fresh and alive. And we heard the stories of prisoners. Second World War, a lot of people were lost. You see, or when partition happened, Pakistan, partition happened. Now, I was in my own place, a man walked all the way to Pakistan, and then finally he ended up in some Kuwait, Gulf countries. He was working, and through Pakistan he went to Iran, and then he finally ended up in the Gulf countries. And then the new states which they started, they carved out Kuwait and carved out Jordan and all that. And his family didn't know where this man was at all. They had given up hope that he will return. And there were many people, they said, oh, this person is lost, he is dead. Now they started their life took another course. You see, they should probably the wife married, the children forgot about their father who left them when they was very small, because they gave up their hope in this man. They gave up. And fine day, he knocks at the door. And I am the father who left 30, 45 years ago. But in between, the hope has died. But there are people who kept up their hope, waited for their missing son, waited for their husband who went missing or is in prison, and hoping them to return one day before she died or somebody died. And that hope is called living hope. The hope that you keep up. The hope you keep up even when there is absolutely no ground for keeping up that hope. So Peter says, our hope is something like that. It's a living hope. Now why do we hope? We have a reason for that hope. That reason for that hope is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Look at that verse again. Into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Now remember, this is Peter writing this epistle. Now Peter was there. Peter was there with Jesus for 3.5 years. Peter was always there. I don't think Peter ever took a break from following Jesus. He was always there. He was in the inner circle. And when he was arrested, he was in the garden. And when he was arrested, he followed him. Why did Peter follow him? Thinking that Jesus may be released. He might have thought he may be released. Then finally, he was at the foot of the cross, hoping he may be saved. Something may happen. Like that movie science fiction films, Jesus is on the cross and died, and he almost died, and suddenly, and he breaks the cross and comes down, and that Peter might have gone back to that. He was waiting there for that moment. He didn't come. Then Peter gave up. When did Peter give up? When he saw Jesus' body was pushed into that shelf in that little cave, and a stone was rolled, and the Roman stamp was put. Peter said, Lord, now he's gone forever. I know that. That's why he went for fishing. But he never ever thought of visiting that cave, that grave. But Mary is the one who said. And then Peter is the one who ran first. The others waited. That is how the gospel account says. Peter shot in, not knowing, probably like my little dog runs and slips and he goes with another feet because he slips on the smooth floor. Peter might have slipped into the cave, and then he's not there. And he says, that gave me a new hope. What is that? He is resurrected from the dead. That was a transforming effect on him. Now he knows Christ rose from the dead as the first fruit. That is, Christ is the first fruit from the dead, which then means that me, you, and Peter, and all of us will be the fruits that follow. So he said we have a living hope because now resurrection from the dead is possible. That is what he is trying to say. Jesus made resurrection from the dead possible. So we have hope because Jesus has rose again. Now, this is the challenge I want to leave in the first part. What hope drives us? We have hope. All of us have hope. Some of us hope in the salary day, that will come, isn't it? That will come. That is why we are working. Thank God we are not employed by Satyam. They have no hope. Absolutely no hope. And the companies, the banks who have given them loan have no hope. You see? So they have asked this, I heard the news that recently, the other day, many companies, many banks who have given loans to Satyam have asked them to produce December salary slip. Because if they are not employed with them, they don't want to continue that loan. So the Satyam people have lost hope, employees. The banks who lend money have lost hope. But many of us still have hope that we will have a day called 31st of January and there will be salary credited or account or allowance will come or pocket money will come. But we have so many hopes. But we should have a hope that we survive all the problems and sufferings that we have in our life. That's called the right hope. And Peter points to this hope, that is the hope, a living hope. And then he goes on to say, what are we hoping for? The second aspect of it, the second part of it. He says very clearly, we have a hope of an inheritance. An inheritance. I just want to emphasize that word. You underline that word. We are not having a hope of a gift. A gift. No. It is not a contribution that we are going to receive. It is not a reward. Not simply a reward. What is it? An inheritance. My father has given lots of money for the church as contribution. He has given a lot of money for charity. He has given a lot of money as loans for small farmers. But he gave inheritance only to his children. Make that difference? Even if all the money that my father has contributed to our neighbors and his friends and all that will never be called inheritance. Why? They were not my father's children. He might have given more money than he gave to us, to others, but still that itself become inheritance. It is a contribution. It's a gift. But Peter, so that is why I said this is Peter's, first Peter is soul and property. There's a lot of ideas packed in it, truth packed in it. And he says, we have the hope of an inheritance. You know why? Because that is the second thing, I'll come to that. Because we are the children of God. We have a claim on Father's property. Because we are the children of God. And now he goes on to use three words, and that's amazing. He says, which do not perish, which do not spoil, and which do not fail. And Peter captures everything in these three words. And he may be thinking of Israel, the old Israel, the people who came to Exodus. They came to a land which God gave them as an inheritance, as the children of God. And that inheritance faded. Every summer, the land that flows with milk and honey, we did at least some parts. Okay, the trees will be dried up, and it spoiled, and it faded. Peter himself had a wonderful. Probably he was he had a fishing company with many others. His boat, probably it will spoil. The fish will definitely spoil by the evening. That was not an inheritance. Now Paul Peter says, we have an inheritance which will never spoil, never fade, and never perish. Now he says, you know why? He says, we have an inheritance in heaven. That's why it is happening. Some of us have put money in the stocks and banks and all that. Some people bought gold, okay? And some people had all these things. And some people had, I remember during the invasion of Kuwait, I had a neighbor, and he had saved a lot of money and put it under the pillow. Yeah? And then the Kuwait invasion happened because he didn't want to put it, because he wanted to evade tax and all sort of things. So he put it all in, not all the money, thank God he had wisdom to send some money to the bank in Kerala. But he put all this money in the plastic bag about city money. And suddenly Saddam Hussein comes and captures, invades Kuwait. And money has no value. Absolutely. Because Kuwaiti currency was actually banned and whatever it is. It was out of currency. Out of currency. And then for so many months, his Kuwaiti, what is it called? Kuwaiti dinar or dinar? Kuwaiti dinar it didn't have the value of the paper on which it is printed. And that's an inheritance that faded. Thank God. Thank God for Father Bush. You know? This man, I remember talking to this man's father, and he said, now children are playing with my son's Kuwaiti dinars. But the children are playing, because it has no value. But somehow I think it got some value after that, the recapture of Kuwait. But now, Peter is talking about an inheritance that will never fade, which never devalues, never depreciates. Now he tells us the secret. Actually, Peter was very innocent. He told us the secret in the first phrase itself. And he talks about, I made it a little complicated. He said, through a new birth. Look at that verse. Praise be to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In His great mercy, He has given us a new birth into a living hope and into an inheritance. Do we have a different translation at that point? Can somebody read that for me? Verse 3. Other than NIV? NIV or RSV or King James Version? Anyone has a version?
NRSV.
Yeah, NRSV.
Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. By His great mercy, He has given us a new birth.
Right. He has given us a new birth. That means He has fathered us for a new hope. It is not a simple adoption. Look at that. See, I came up with the best I can think of, an adoption illustration. You are adopted to a family. But now he says, no. He has fathered us. He has begotten us. Like King James Version will say, He has begotten us. He has given us birth. It is from our side, we haven't done anything. What did the child do to be born? No, it is the father and the mother. And the child is born. So in His great mercy, this Father, who is the Father? The Father of Jesus Christ has fathered us so that we have a hope and we have an inheritance. Praise God for that. That's the greatest doxology I have ever found in the Bible. Praise be to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who fathered us too, so that we have the hope of a rich man's inheritance. We are not giving up. So he says, the Romans are persecuting you. Nero has started it. The Jews had already had their turn of persecuting Christians. Now, don't give up, brothers and sisters. We have a hope. A hope of what? Hope of an inheritance. And where is it? In heaven. And what is it? So, will it depreciate by the time I get it? No. It will not fade. It will not wither. It will not be devalued. It will only increase in its value. And that's why we say you are born. Being born means everything is new. It's a radical beginning. It's a radical beginning. And it is a birth by God. And it is a purposeful thing. It is not an accident. It is purposeful. We are begotten the same Father of Jesus Christ. What a privilege. Have you ever wondered? See, the Christian communities were not mega churches that we think. According to scholars, the church in Corinth was not bigger and larger than 40 to 50 people. So small churches. The church in Corinth was maybe around 40 to 55 people were put together. That's a small church. And all of the churches could be less than 100. Mega churches is a new phenomenon. Now, how did these small communities survive such a severe state-sponsored persecution which lasted 300 years? 300 years. 300 years all over the Roman Empire until 343 Constantine became the emperor. The church was persecuted. These tiny groups were persecuted, scattered all over the Roman Empire. But they survived. Why? The simple secret is that they had a higher hope. They had a nobler hope. A nobler hope. And the status that came from their status as children of God. Children of God. I want to close here with this challenge. We have lots of struggles every day. Every day. All of us are big, small. Maybe we start with this. Who will take my grocery from more? That may be the challenge. It may be facing a bigger crisis in life. It may be fears of death in our life or somebody else's. It may be other fears, all sort of things happen. But Peter's prescription to all this is simple. And that is, have the hope. And you have the right for that, every right for that hope because you are the child of God. You are birthed by the Father who is the Father of Jesus Christ. That is why they survive. And I think that is enough for us to survive in our struggles. But let me conclude with that final thought. One phrase. He says, by the mercy of God, in His great mercy, He has given us new birth. It's not something that we asked for. It is not something that we worked for. It is not something that we deserve, but it is in His great mercy. Amazing. The man died and went to heaven. And the popular imagination, Peter is at the pearly gates and all that thing, this is not biblical, but I'm just illustrating. And this man went there and then Peter said, good, you need 1,000 points to enter heaven. 1,000 points. So tell me all the things that you did. So this man said, I'm married for 35 years and I have been faithful to my wife. I've never been unfaithful to mine, even in my heart, for all these 35 years. Oh, very good. That's great. And Peter said, that will give 3 points. Oh, yeah. Anything else? He said, yes. I was the secretary of the church and I have supported a lot of missions and I have a lot of money for mission in the North India and other parts of the country. And so he said, okay, fine. That will give you 2 points. Now add up 5 points. Anything else you want to say? So he said, yeah, I ran a soup kitchen. I fed the poor in the slum. That I forgot. And that was a great ministry. A lot of people had at least 1 square meal in the city of Pune or whatever he was from. Oh, Peter said, that's great. And that will give you 1 point. Anything else? So he added up 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6. Now 994 to go. And he couldn't think of anything. So he said, hey, Peter, if you are going to count points like this, only by the mercy of God I will get you to heaven. And Peter said, great, that gives you 1,000 points. What? The very mention, admitting that fact, for admitting that fact, that the mercy of God, that only works, he said 1,000 points, get in. He jumps inside. This is good. But what we do is, we think of all other things. The family that we were born into these things and the ancestry and go back and then whatever ancestry we can trace and that whatever we cannot trace, we construct ourselves. And make it as noble as possible. And the church background and all sort of things that we think that we can stand before God. No. This thing, that gets you 1,000 points. What is that? Mercy of God. And that's what he says. By the mercy of God, He has given us a new hope, a new living hope of an inheritance and never fail. And these little communities in Cappadocia, Pontus, Galatia, these people read this epistle, might have taken 12 minutes for them to read in the light of candles after a day's work. When they came, a messenger came, carried this little scroll, and he came to churches after churches. Probably when he read, other people copied this in a hurry to be given to the smaller churches nearby. And these people were going through tremendous persecution. And these people said, "Oh my God, I have an inheritance kept for me in heaven." And they walked to the stakes, and they were tied. Every time they said, "If you forsake Christianity, if you say Caesar is Lord, we will let you go." And they tied them to the pole. They said, "If the moment you say Caesar is Lord, you can go." They said, "No, Jesus is Lord, not Caesar is Lord." And they stacked all the firewood around them and said, "The moment you say Caesar is Lord, we'll take all this out." They said, "No, Jesus is Lord." And they poured oil on this, all these logs that they have piled over it, and said, "The moment you say Jesus is Lord, you can go." Sorry, Caesar is Lord, you can go. They said, "No, Jesus is Lord." And they took this torch and about to torch it, they said, if you now say Caesar is Lord, you can go." They said, "No, Jesus is Lord." But I was a mother who had little children. Have you read the biographies of the martyrs of the Christian church? You should read that book. There are many books available. Read one by one. They will give you enough reason to live. See? And that was a mother with little children and had a husband. They were watching it. And she still said, "Jesus is Lord." And they burned her alive. And kept on saying, read the biography of Pulikottil, for example. See, the martyr called Pulikottil. And they died. Why? Because they believed that they received a new birth. The Heavenly Father has begotten them. And they have a hope of a great resurrection. And then they are waiting for an inheritance that will never fail, spoil. In a sense, like Paul, they were waiting for that death to come as early as possible, so that they can be transferred to that level. For me to die is gain, and for me to live is Christ. I want to close with this, and I want to say, but remember, all